Step right up, history buffs and gossip lovers. Today, we're pulling back the velvet curtain to peek into the scandalous, secret lives of royalty. Forget the fairy tales. We're talking about the juicy, jaw-dropping stories of affairs, betrayals, and even murders that have rocked thrones and changed the course of history. These aren't just dusty old stories. They're epic dramas that prove royals are, after all, only human. Let's start our journey in Tudor England, period practically synonymous with scandal, thanks to one man, King Henry VIII. We all know the rhyme. Divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. But the story of how he got there is the real blockbuster. His desperate quest for a male heir led him to break with the entire Catholic Church, all to annul his 24-year marriage to Catherine of Aragon and marry the ambitious Anne Boleyn. He declared himself the supreme head of the Church of England, dissolved monasteries, and seized their wealth. But the drama didn't end there. When it also failed to produce a son, Henry, ever the romantic, accused her of adultery, incest, and treason. She was beheaded at the Tower of London, a shocking end for a queen. Henry's love life was a revolving door of political maneuvering and personal desire, leaving a trail of broken hearts, severed heads, and a religious revolution in its wake. This wasn't just a family feud. It was a national crisis that reshaped England forever. Now, let's fast forward a couple of centuries and cross the channel to France, to the glittering but doomed court of Versailles. Here we find Queen Marie Antoinette, the original It Girl, whose life became a cautionary tale. Married to the indecisive King Louis XVI, the Austrian-born queen was immediately viewed with suspicion. She was young, beautiful, and loved extravagant parties. Towering hairstyles and lavish gowns, which didn't exactly endear her to the starving French populace. Rumors swirled around her like perfume. Was she having an affair with the handsome Swedish Count, Axel von Fersen? She really say, "Let them eat cake when told the people had no bread"? While that famous quote is likely a myth, it captured the public's perception of her as out of touch and frivolous. The real scandal that sealed her fate was the affair of the diamond necklace. A cunning con artist tricked a cardinal into believing the queen wanted him to secretly buy her an obscenely expensive diamond necklace. When the scheme was exposed, Marie Antoinette was completely innocent, but the damage was done. The public believed she was deceitful and extravagant, fueling the revolutionary fire that would eventually lead her and her husband to the guillotine. Her story is a tragic reminder of how public perception and scandalous rumors can be just as deadly as any blade. From France, let's journey east to the vast and formidable Russian Empire in the 18th century. Meet Catherine the Great, a German princess who arrived in Russia as a teenager to marry the heir, Peter III. Their marriage was a disaster. Peter was immature and volatile, more interested in playing with toy soldiers than ruling an empire or paying attention to his brilliant wife. Catherine, on the other hand, was intelligent, ambitious, and quickly learned Russian and embraced the Orthodox faith, winning over the military and the court. Feeling trapped and sidelined, she decided to take matters into her own hands. Just 6 months into her husband's reign, Catherine orchestrated a coup. With the help of her lover, Gregory Orlov, and his brothers in the Imperial Guard, she had Peter arrested. He died shortly after in mysterious circumstances, very likely murdered. Catherine then seized the throne for herself, becoming one of Russia's most powerful and effective rulers. Her reign was marked by territorial expansion and cultural enlightenment, but it began with a ruthless act of betrayal and probable murder. It's a chilling example of the extreme lengths some will go to for power. Her personal life also remained a source of endless gossip, with a long line of lovers who were often rewarded with titles and land, solidifying her reputation as a woman who played by her own rules in the bedroom and on the battlefield. Now let's head back to Britain, this time to the Victorian era, a time known for its strict moral codes. But even Queen Victoria's family wasn't immune to scandal. Her eldest son and heir, Prince Albert Edward, or Bertie, was the polar opposite of his straight-laced parents. He loved fine food, gambling, and most of all, women. His life was a string of high-profile affairs, earning him the nickname Dirty Bertie. One of his most famous liaisons was with the celebrated actress Lily Langtry. Their affair was an open secret, thrilling society and horrifying the Queen. But his most damaging scandal involved a divorce case. When a prominent politician sued his wife for divorce, Bertie was called to testify in court because he had been a visitor to their home. While he denied any impropriety, the mere fact that the future king was dragged into a messy public divorce trial was a huge embarrassment for the monarchy. His father, Prince Albert, was so distraught by Bertie's reckless behavior that he traveled to confront him in the pouring rain, fell ill, and died shortly after. Queen Victoria blamed Bertie for her beloved husband's death for the rest of her life. Despite his scandalous youth, when Bertie finally became King Edward VII, he proved to be a popular and surprisingly skilled diplomat. His story shows that even the most scandalous prince can sometimes grow into a king. Finally, we land in the 20th century with a scandal that literally toppled a throne. In 1936, King Edward VIII had been on the British throne for less than a year when he announced his intention to marry Wallis Simpson. There were two major problems. First, she was an American. Second, and more importantly, she was a divorcee, on the verge of her second divorce. For the king, who was also the head of the Church of England, marrying a twice-divorced woman was unthinkable. The government, the church, and the public were outraged. Prime Minister Stanley Baldwin gave him an ultimatum: give up Wallis or give up the throne. In a move that stunned the world, Edward chose love. He delivered a historic radio address declaring, "I have found it impossible to carry the heavy burden of responsibility and to discharge my duties as king as I would wish to do, without the help and support of the woman I love." He abdicated the throne, passing it to his shy, stammering younger brother, who would become the celebrated King George VI, Edward. Now the Duke of Windsor and Wallis lived the rest of their lives in exile, a glamorous but isolated couple. This abdication crisis was a defining moment for the modern British monarchy, a love story that cost a king his crown and changed the line of succession forever. From Henry VIII's ruthless ambition to Edward VIII's romantic sacrifice, these stories show that the lives of royals are often more dramatic than any work of fiction. These scandals weren't just palace gossip. They had real, earth-shattering consequences, sparking religious reformations, fueling revolutions, and redefining the very nature of monarchy itself. They remind us that behind the crowns and ceremony, these historical figures were driven by the same powerful emotions that drive us all: love, ambition, jealousy, and betrayal. What do you think is the most shocking royal scandal of all time? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this dive into the secret history of royalty, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more tales from the past. Thanks for watching.